I think I found the way to fix the Rangers offense. Just score 20 runs every game, and maybe the playoffs are in reach.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, I'm talking about the best offensive performance we have seen from this Texas Rangers team all season long, the worst position player pitching performance I think I might have ever seen. And if this team could maybe finally, for once all season long, carry some momentum on the road. Before we get into all that, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Now, the Rangers ended up winning this series. They have a 5-1 homestand where they sweep the Cleveland Guardians, lose one game to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and they finish it out with a 20-3 annihilation of these Angels. Oh my goodness. This is one of the most dominant offensive performances I have ever seen. And it looks a little bit more lopsided because of Oswald Peraza's just truly hilarious and horrific position player pitching performance, in which he allowed 8 runs in that 7th inning. Hilarious that the Rangers didn't get any runs off of the second different position player to pitch, but they didn't really need it because they got plenty of runs early on in this game, just absolutely blasting Jack Kohanowitz in this one. 10 earned runs, 11 runs total, 3 1/3 innings, and my goodness, they just pounded him. This was by far the most runs that the Rangers have scored all season long, and it's the most they've scored since 2011, that vaunted offense that might be the best in Rangers franchise history. This team just could not be stopped, and they did get a little bit of help. I mean, just so many home runs off of Jack Kohanowicz, 3 homers to be specific, including one 3-run homer that was maybe not a homer. I don't know that it would have been a homer in the Rangers ballpark if not for just a little bit of help from Joe Adell, which it's not the first time Joe Adell has helped a home run over the wall in right field in Globe Life Field. He did it back in 2020 on November 4th, 2020 to be specific, helping Nick Solak get a homer on what was a pretty routine flyout to the warning track. He's just turning around and just helped it over the wall. That was his rookie year. This one, a little bit more natural, definitely would have been an extra base hit, not a ruled an error. And it was a 3-run, 2-out homer by Jock Pederson, who had an incredible day. I mean, 5 RBI days from both him, from Adolis Garcia, and from Kyle Higashioka down there in the 8th spot. And this is a big deal for Jock Pederson. I mean, he very much needed that 3-run homer, as did the Rangers offense. I mean, they did give up a few runs in this one. A spot start by Jacob Latz, who I'll talk about a little bit later on. A solid outing for him. Then Luis Carvello allows a run, and that was pretty much that in this one. This was just a utter obliteration, an annihilation of this Angels team that is now the worst in the AL West with the A's recent surge. The A's are 7-3 in their last 10, which makes me a little worried about the Rangers going on the road and facing them this weekend in West Sacramento. They were 9 for 18 with runners in scoring position, and it could have been worse because they left 9 runners on base. 4 different homers in this one, a 3-run homer by Adolis Garcia in the first inning, then that 3-run bomb by Jock Pederson, a 2-run bomb by Corey Seager, and a 3-run bomb by Kyle Higashioka, his 10th of the season. As a team, they hit .478 and slugged .848. That is an absolutely hilarious number to see this team reach. I mean, It was really a day of Jock Pederson, Adolis Garcia, who went 4 for 6 with 5 RBIs and 3 extra base hits, including that 3-run bomb off of just the hangingest of hanging breaking balls, just right down the middle of the zone for Adolis Garcia to absolutely crush. Corey Seager got to take the day off in what I believe the 5th inning in this one. And then in comes Zeke Duran, and he has a multi-hit day in his stead. Adolis Garcia's 4-hit day. Well, that was the most of anybody on the team. Josh Young had a 3-hit day. And Wyatt Langford would have scored 5 runs had he not been pinch ran for after getting hit by a pitch. And one of the slowest hit by pitches I have ever seen. Just standing there, taking it, just literally batting practice. Worse than batting practice. Home run derby practice. That was how bad Oswald Peraza was throwing it. I mean, just absolutely loping it in there. And one of my favorite things about watching a position player pitch is in the StatCast era where they tried to classify these different pitches as different things. I mean, he threw apparently 18 curveballs and 3 sliders, which how can you differentiate when they're just looped in there at 39 to 34 miles per hour? I mean, it was just absurd. And sometimes that's enough to get guys out. I mean, it's not like Nico Cavadas was really doing that much different. He was throwing what were technically considered fastballs. I mean, it was, blazing in there at 61 to 62 miles an hour, all the way down there at 53. Also threw some Evises in there. I mean, they all pretty much look like Evises from where I was sitting. But this was just something that this Texas Rangers team absolutely needed. As an offense, you need a game like this. And Wyatt Langford reached base 5 times in this one, scored 4 runs because Michael Hellman pinch ran for him late on in this one after that hit by pitch. But a couple of hits, including a double, worked a couple of walks, also got hit in the tush, or maybe that was the thigh at that point to reach base. Yet again, he has a 785 on base or OPS. 785 on base percentage would be incredible. But 785 OPS on the season, and now has a 17 game on base streak. Before this streak started, that was the second game against the Phillies. That was the last time that he did not reach base in a game where he played. His slash line on the year is 238, 323, and 409. That's solid. That's fine. But he's improved those numbers vastly in that span. He's now hitting over 250 at 252 on base of 346, just nearing that 350 mark. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends the year with a 350 plus on base. And the slugging percentage has gone up 30 points in that span. He's not just working walks. He's not just getting hit by position players pitching. He is punishing baseballs. I mean, he has been punishing baseballs all month long. He's got 4 home runs this month. He's got 7 doubles, 11 RBIs this month, and 19 walks in 83 plate appearances. He has been on fire in this month, and the Rangers have desperately needed it. I mean, they've needed it badly. There was a really rough stretch for him in the month of July, but as of late, he has really been heating up. You look at what he's done in the last 2 weeks. He's got 3 home runs in that span. He's hitting over 350, on bases 500, slugging 667, and 1167 OPS. And the last 7 days where he's got 7 games under his belt, 1 home run. He's got 4 doubles in that span and 1183 OPS on the month. This guy has been on fire as of late, and he is such an incredibly big part of this Rangers present and this Rangers future. I mean, he could have been playing in that World Series. He could have been the roster replacement for Adolis Garcia as opposed to Ezekiel Duran in that 2023 World Series, and he would have gotten his World Series ring. It would have been insane for him to make his major league debut in game 3, 4? I think it was 4 of the World Series, but that was definitely on the table. He has not seen the major league postseason. He has not seen it yet. He has just been on 2 mediocre teams, and this guy, I guarantee you, is desperate to get a part of that postseason action, get himself a ring of his own. So he's not just saying, oh, yeah, I'm a part of this Texas Rangers squad that won a championship 2 years ago, but I played absolutely no part of it. No, he wants to be a part of it. He wants to be a big part of it, and he is going to be for not just this year, but for years to come. This is just the start of it for Wyatt Langford. And while he wasn't the one driving in all of these runs in this game, this was a group effort for a team that desperately needed something to feel good about in this one. A day after Nathan Eovaldi goes down for the season, they now have 2 wins stacked on this one, 5 out of 6 wins in their homestand, and they need to move that momentum on the road. We're talking about that, and we're talking about Jacob Latz stepping into this rotation. Is he here to stay? That and more right after this. The show is brought to you by Upside. Hey, Rangers fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON and get 25 extra cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas that you already needed. At first, I thought this was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer go by. Download the free Upside app now and use my limited time promo code SEASON for 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offer varies by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be back and looking ahead at this weekend series against the no longer Oakland A's and talking about what this Rangers team needs to do to build on this momentum. But having a good start by Jacob Latz in a spot start situation, this is supposed to be Nathan Eovaldi's spot in the rotation, and alas, that was not the case with him going down with a season-ending shoulder injury, dealing with rotator cuff strain. He is going to be out at least 4 weeks. Then they will have another MRI and see exactly when he comes back. I talked about that at length on yesterday's show, in which I said, hey, Jacob Latz needs to be getting a spot in this rotation. I know Kumar Rocker's there, but the Rangers are reworking his delivery. I'll talk a little bit more about all that's going on with Kumar Rocker, why he is not in this rotation right now, and why I think it's probably for the best, both long-term and even in the short term for Kumar Rocker and the Rangers, for him to just keep working on the things that he is working on down in the minor leagues. But Jacob Latz has been really solid in his few opportunities to start. He's got now 4 starts on the season. There was another game. It was a bullpen game in which Jacob Latz was the primary pitcher, but this was a solid outing for Jacob Latz coming in, and he was a little bit nervous. It seemed like he didn't have the best first inning, giving up a run early on in this one, but the Rangers battled back and said, you know what? I got you. Don't worry about it, Jacob Latz. We're going to give you more than enough run support, more than any amount of run support you could possibly need, piling on 4 runs after he gave up that first run in the first inning, then 3 more just for good measure in the second inning. He gives up a solo shot in the 5th inning, and then doesn't quite make it out of that inning. Would have led to see 5 innings out of him. But Jacob Webb steps in and gets the job done. An inning and 2/3. Sean Armstrong pitches in this one because he hadn't pitched in a week. My memory told me that he had pitched in yesterday's game, and I was like, why is Sean Armstrong pitching in what is with a 12-run or I believe 9-run lead at that point? But he had not pitched in a week, so it's just about getting him fresh. The Rangers will have a day off to rest every part of their pen. Luis Carvello comes in, gives up a run around striking out 3 different batters. Caleb Bosley comes in, and he is up with the Rangers for what will be the final time he's probably going to stay on this roster from now until the end of the season, because rosters are about to expand and after this weekend series on September 1st. So having Bosley on this roster, he will no longer be option. He will just be the Rangers' longman, and coming in with, I believe it was a 17-run lead at that point. He gets the job done. But Jacob Latz is going to stick in this rotation from now, I think, until probably the end of the season, barring him just looking terrible and the Rangers wanted to go with Bosley. I don't see that happening because Latz is going to be knocking on the door for a rotation spot next year. I truly and earnestly believe that. It is very difficult at this point in the season with him not being built up to a starter's workload to just come in there and going 4 2/3 and just allowing a couple runs. And he struck out 5. I mean, he looked pretty solid in this one. He throws 66 pitches stays mostly in the strike zone, only walks one, hasn't had as many problems with the walks as a starting pitcher as he has in the bullpen. This is just a quality outing where the Rangers just want to get some looks at Jacob Latz, because next year, as currently constructed, here's what this Rangers rotation looks like if they don't sign anybody else. You got Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom, head of the rotation. And then you've got Jack Leiter, who has earned his spot in next year's rotation. I don't see him losing it unless, he does something during the year to lose that spot. He's definitely heading into camp as a certified bona fide starter, no matter who the Rangers sign, unless they sign, 4 starting pitchers, which I don't see them doing this offseason. Then probably Kumar Rocker is at least, vying for one of those spots. And that's only 4 guys right there. That's if the Rangers sign nobody. That 5th spot would be Jacob Latz. And Latz might even be battling Rocker for a rotation spot next year. He has just been so competent, so, there's not been really any kind of, setbacks with Latz as a starter. He's just been fantastic. He's had a couple of really, really great outings, including that, 6+ no-hit innings against the Baltimore Orioles, where he looked absolutely incredible in the month of July, or maybe that was early August. I'm still misremembering. I think that was right at the very end of July in Baltimore, where he was just incredible. I mean, back-to-back games for the Rangers for 2 different Jacobs were basically no-hitting the Baltimore Orioles. And Lance has just been so solid. He has been such found money this year. I mean, honestly, in terms of the pitching side, if you look past the obvious of, Jack Leiter taking those steps forward, the second most impressive, development standpoint, from a development standpoint and progression, there is Jacob Latz. He has just been so darn solid, and I really want to see what he can do as a starting pitcher. I think the Rangers do too. He's been fine in a bullpen role. I don't know why, but it feels like I trust him more to start a game than I do to come into a clutch situation. He has had some issues with letting inherited runners score, but if you just start the game and they're your own runners, he's been fine at not allowing those runners to score. He got a 3.13 ERA on the year. He has just been such an underrated and valued part of this Texas Rangers squad that they have desperately needed, with so many issues in their bullpen, with so many issues in their rotation occasionally. I mean, he's had more outings this year than John Gray, more starts than John Gray. John Gray hasn't had any starts this year, and he's not going to. He's had more starts this year than Dane Dunning, which is not at all what I expected heading into this season. But Jacob Latz has a 3.13 ERA in 63 1/3 innings this year. That's incredible. That is so much more than anybody expected for Jacob Latz heading into this year. And he not only made the opening day roster, but he made an impact, and he stayed on this roster for the vast majority of this season. The only times he's really gone down is because the Rangers just used him too much, and they needed some fresh bullpen arms. That is a massive, massive win with him and with Cole Winn taking these steps forward of having guys who I don't think Winn is going to step in and try and get some starts next year. I think that ship has sailed. But with Cole Winn being just a solid middle reliever to maybe occasionally leverage reliever, and Jacob Latz, if he can be just a decent starter, he's not young at this point. I mean, Latz is 29 this year. He'll be 30 next year. And, you think of him as young because he hasn't really, pitched that much at the big league level, at least not consistently. He pitched a lot last year in 43 2/3 innings. He had a sub-4 ERA. That was fine. He pitched in 2023 just 3 times, and he finished off some games that were, truly very important in 2023. I mean, the back end of that season, just coming up at the very end and saving this bullpen from having to throw more innings in games that the Rangers ended up losing, just saving those guys for the final week of the season. I mean, Jacob Latz, I don't think he pitched in the postseason at all, if my memory is serving me correctly. No, he hasn't pitched in the postseason at all, but just saving that pen down the stretch in every single game what mattered in 2023. And you forget, he's been a big leaguer since 2021. That's when he made his big league debut. Just one start there in Cleveland where he went 4 2/3 innings and struck out 4 and allowed 3 runs and was just kind of okay, and basically an emergency spot start situation in 2021 that very much caught me off guard. Didn't make it back to the big leagues till 2023 and didn't really start making an impact in a big way until the back end of 2024 and really in 2025. This is found money And this is not something that happens very often. A guy who the Rangers picked back in the 5th round of the 2017 draft out of Kent State. That is a massive, massive win for the Rangers, not just this year, but for next year. And if he can turn into an actual solid, serviceable mid to back end rotation starter, more back end rotation starter at this point, with maybe the upside of a mid rotation guy, that is a massive development for this Texas Rangers squad. Now, coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about this weekend series. If the Rangers can finally, for the first time this year, use the momentum they got on an incredible homestand and take it on the road. All that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like catching a game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that is the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of actually going to a baseball game. That's why I use Gametime. The app that gives you the advantage back to the fans. Gametime is fast, it's easy, and it's backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. It is so easy getting tickets with Gametime. They've got all kinds of different deals, flash deals. You can see the best deal in your section. Just pick the section. They say, hey, this is the best deal for you, and you can trust them because the app made it super simple. You can actually see your seat view and know your fees. They are included. You can know the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Gametime app today. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. After every single game, the Locked On Rangers postcast with Jeff Biggs is in your Locked On Rangers podcast feeds on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, reacting live to all 162. Now, this team is just so confusing. I said earlier this week that I finally figured out how to predict what the Texas Rangers are going to do. And just take what is the dumbest, most ridiculous possible outcome in any given situation, and that's what they will do. And it seems like that's what they keep doing. I mean, after that Monday loss, a shutout loss with Jacob deGrom on the hill against an Angel starter who was not very good, a guy who the Rangers absolutely could have done some damage against, or at least enough damage to get a win against. It could have been a 6-0 homestand, and they lose. And you think, okay, well, things aren't going well. You can't afford to lose basically anything else in this series. And then they get the news before Tuesday's game. Oh, Nathan Eovaldi, the guy who's having the best pitching season we've ever seen from a Texas Rangers player, he's done for the year. He's done. That's it. Throw in the towel. It's over. And then they win Tuesday night's game, maybe in honor of Nathan Eovaldi. You get 8 scoreless innings from Patrick Corbin. You think, well, that was fun. That was interesting. But that doesn't change how I feel about this team moving forward. The bats still stink. The pitching is still pretty good, but significantly not as good without Nathan Eovaldi in this rotation, because how can you take out a guy with a 1.73 ERA on the season and expect to still be a truly elite pitching staff? And then you plug in Jacob Latz and it says, hey, who cares what this pitching staff is if this offense can just score 20 runs in a game? And now, granted, a lot of those runs, 8 of those runs were on Oswald Peraza. I mean, with a game that's already out of hand, you already scored 12 runs. It's not like they just scored all of these runs off of position player pitching or bad pitching in general. They got a run off of Robert Stevenson as well, who just nice to see him pitching for the Angels, a guy who they spent a whole lot of money on a 3-year deal for a reliever who immediately had Tommy John surgery, who I believe this is either the second or the third year of his deal. I'm not sure if he's a free agent after this year or next year. But still, this Rangers team did some freaking damage. And this is the kind of a game, I've said this about 1 million times this year, and to the point where I don't know if I'm going to keep saying it. It's like this, you score 20 runs. Look at everybody in the dugout, especially during that 8th inning. They were just laughing and smiling and just happy playing a baseball game. They weren't forgetting to enjoy baseball in this game. And it's easy to do that when you're scoring 20 runs and you're just beating the brakes off of a team that really gave this team some issues. They did. I mean, that series in Anaheim, had it gone a little bit differently back in July, I mean, maybe we're looking at the Rangers being in a postseason spot right now. I mean, maybe we are. I mean, that series, they had 4 games in Anaheim and they split them. They should have won all of those games. They lost a 1-run game with Jacob deGrom on the hill on the 7th. They scored 8 runs and they gave up 11 on the 9th. They beat the brakes off them 13-1. In one of those games, they beat the brakes off them 11-4 in the last game of that series, heading into that All-Star break. And then this game, they just absolutely pantsed them. And I mean, it is just so confusing to watch this Texas Ranger team. I mean, what they did heading into, July, heading into the month of August, they had a lot of momentum going. I mean, right after that incredible, after the All-Star break where the Rangers, took 9 out of 10 games at home. No, 8 out of 9 games at home. They swept the A's. The only loss on that homestand was that 1-run loss on Sunday Night Baseball to the Tigers. And then they took that momentum just barely ahead of the trade deadline, and they lose 2 stupid stinkers in Anaheim. They salvaged one the day before the trade deadline, and then they get just heartbreaking losses against the Mariners. And then it's just been so up and down and up and down and up and down. I mean, after getting swept by the Phillies, then they lose 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Blue Jays, they lose 3 out of 4 on the road to the Royals, and you think, okay, well, now they're super done. And then you win 5 out of 6 at home, and you think, okay, sure. Maybe this is the time they actually use that momentum on this road trip, because they're going to be seeing some difficult teams, some teams where they're going to have to score some runs to beat these teams. The A's, they are scoring as much as anybody right now. I mean, they are an incredible team, and talk more about it on tomorrow's show. But this is not a pushover A's team. This is a tough team. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they have surpassed the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They're still 9.5 games back of that final wildcard spot. They're not vying for that by any means. But I mean, the Rangers are just in a tough spot. They're still 4.5 games back in that final wildcard spot, which is held by the Seattle Mariners, who have already won the tiebreaker against the Rangers. The team ahead of them, between them and the Mariners, the Royals, who are a game and a half ahead of the Rangers, which might as well be 2 games, because the Rangers have also lost the tiebreaker there. And then in the second wildcard spot, if you want to really set your sights high, a game and a half up of the Mariners, so 6 games up of the Rangers, that's the Yankees, who the Rangers have also lost the tiebreaker to. If you really want to get greedy, then right ahead the Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, who the Rangers have at least won the tiebreaker against, they're just a game and a half back. So the Rangers are 6.5 back of the Boston Red Sox. And for the AL West lead, which is not looking all that daunting, despite the Astros getting Yordan Alvarez back, they still lost one of their games to the Colorado Rockies. Lord willing, they will lose 2 games to the Colorado Rockies. They got Yordan Alvarez back, and he had a 2-run homer in his first game back in what I believe is 3 months. It has been a long time since Yordan has been in that Astros lineup, but the Rangers have 6 games against them. They're 6 games back in the AL West. It is possible for this team to go on a run, and I don't know. I really genuinely am so positively confounded by this team. I have spent my entire professional career trying to understand baseball, trying to be able to predict it, trying to look at trends and be smarter, be ahead of the curve, and be like, oh yeah, no, this team is going to be good. This team's going to be bad. I totally know what's going to happen here. And it is just such a confusing sport that it makes you look very stupid when you try and predict anything, let alone what an entire team is going to do. And this team takes that and they ratchet it up about 100,000 degrees. I mean, how many of us expected this team to have a truly elite, the best pitching staff in all of baseball? Who expected that? Who expected a 1.73 ERA for Nathan Eovaldi? And so far, a fully healthy season from Jacob deGrom, where he's going to make maybe 28 starts this year. I mean, who knows exactly what the limit is going to be on Jacob deGrom, because he's just been healthy all year long, something nobody predicted, and that this offense was going to be poo-poo garbage for the whole year. That Marcus Semien was going to go on the IL with a broken bone in his foot. The first time he's on the IL in 8 years. And also, as soon as Evan Carter was looking like he was putting things together, his season gets done by one fluky pitch from a lefty Kansas City Royals reliever and breaks his wrist, and he's done as soon as he was looking healthy. Not a back issue, just a random pitch that breaks his wrist. Just such a confusing, confounding, absolutely unpredictable season. And so I'm sitting here on the final off day in August. We're about to head into a month of September that is just about as big a month as I can remember for any Texas Rangers team, a team that is just defying all expectations, understanding conventional wisdom, anything, any kind of reason or logic being applied to the 2025 Texas Rangers. It can't be done. It simply cannot be done. I don't want to see anything head into this final month of the season trying to predict this Texas Rangers squad of saying, oh, no team with this bad a record has ever done this, or no team with this good a pitching staff has ever missed the playoffs, or this bad an offense has ever made the playoffs. I just don't use any of it, because there's never been a team like this 2025 Rangers team in the history of baseball. And I mean that as both a compliment and an insult, because this team is both very compliment worthy and also insult worthy. I do not understand them. They are beyond my wildest dreams of possibly explaining. And you know what? I think I've made my peace with it. I think I'm just going to sit back and say, all right, whatever this team does, it's fine. It's interesting. It's entertaining. It is confusing. It is maddening. But I think if you stop letting it be maddening and just watch it for the mystery that it is, I think it might take most of this frustration out of watching this incredibly stupid, brilliant, amazing, terrible, funny, horrifying 2025 Texas Rangers squad. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.